Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of today. What am I saying? Another episode of our Cube Quest game. Today, we are going to work on one of our power ups. If you remember, in the first few episodes, we decided that we're going to have this ability to rotate the screen, well, not the screen, but the game, the level, I think it was, just like continuously around and around to make it harder for the player to navigate through. Because as the scene or the level is rotating, the directions that you use on your keyboard are not going to change. So you have to try and remember which way to go. So having the level rotate is going to make it a little bit harder because you'll forget that, or sometimes you'll forget that instead of going left, you'll have to go right. So today we've already implemented that into the game and it works when you first start the game, but we don't want that to happen. We only want it to happen when you pick up some kind of object. And it sounds like this is going to be a power up, but it's not really going to be a power up. It's mainly going to be like a disadvantage. That's something you shouldn't pick up, but you'll only know that you shouldn't pick it up once you picked it up. So you will pick it up initially on one of the very early rounds or levels, and then once you know what it does, you should remember not to pick it up in the further levels. So let's get back into it. So this is our game. I believe in the previous episodes we finished our animation for our cube when it jumps. Well, when you move onto our teleporting platforms, which are these blue, very light blue, like platforms at the bottom of the maze. So when you go onto these platforms, it gets pushed into the first one and then it comes out of the second one. So that's working nicely. The main thing is it is also working on every other level that we put them in. So that's what we wanted. So that's good. Now today you can see that when we start the game, the level is currently rotating around and we don't really want that. So let's go and disable that first. So where do we do that? Game object, cube, canvas, no. Where is it? Managers, level manager. Maybe it's on the level. I can't remember. We did that quite a while ago. Let's go to prefabs, level 1. Nope. Actually, let's open that and see. Level 1. No, it's not on there. Where is it? I can't remember. Managers, UI manager. It's not on UI manager. It's not on our level manager. Level spawner position. It's not on that. Start game panel. It's not on that. Where is it? That's why it's not our level that's rotating, it's the camera. So yeah, we added a game object in the very center of the scene, and then all we did is we made that game object rotate around a center point, and then we just offset the camera by, I can't remember what it was. Where's our camera? So we offset it by 20 on the y axis and minus 16 on the z axis, and then we gave it a rotation of 50 so that it kind of looks like, where's our scene? So you can see here, let's go to our cube. Where's our camera? Our camera is over there. You can see that our center point is right inside of that cube, I believe, and our camera simply just rotates around that object because it's attached to that game object as a child object. So when the parent object rotates, the camera rotates with it. So what we're going to try and do in today's episode is going to try and, well, we're going to disable that. So let's go and disable it right now. And then we'll add in we'll create another prefab it's going to be a 3D object. And just remember that these prefabs that we are currently creating, let's create a sphere for now. So these prefabs are just placeholders. When we get further into this game and we want to start making it look better, we will go and make some different 3D objects in Blender probably once I learn how to do that. But for now, we're just going to use some simple placeholders and try and get the game working. And then later on, once it's working, we can just drag them into the game and then just swap them out. So this one here is going to, let's make it a little bit smaller. We'll go about 0.75 by 0.75 by 0.75. Okay, so this is going to be our rotating sphere. Okay, we'll leave it like that. And then what this is going to do is we need to add a script onto this, and this is going to be, we'll call this rotate trigger. Or let's go level rotate trigger. Like that. You can always change it later on. Once we figure out what we're going to replace it with. So let's drag that into our scripts folder. And then when we, where's our, let's put that over here. Okay, so when we, let's open that up, the level rotate trigger. So this is going to have a collider on it, I think. Might be, I don't know, we'll start with collider. We might have to change it to trigger, but let's go and say on collision enter. And then in here, let's go and say print rotating. That's not how you spell it. Okay, so we'll print that out just to make sure that it's working. Actually, let's add in a check. So let's go and say if the collision dot let's see, collision dot game object dot compare tag, and then this will be what is it? Do we have a global class? Yes, we do. So this is going to be global dot what is it? Global dot cube. I think it's cube tag. Yeah, cube tag. Okay, so if we collide with the cube, then we can go and print out a message. Okay, so let's go and test that and see if that works. Although now we have to go and put it inside of our scene or our level. So let's go to our prefabs, or let's create a prefab out of this. So where is it? This is going to be our rotating sphere. I'll drag that into here, and then I will, do we have another material? Let's just add this material onto it for now. Okay, cool. So now let's go to our, no, not our scenes, our prefabs. And then let's go to level 1. And now we can put it in here somewhere. So where we can go and drag it in. And then we will put it, I think that's where you start and that's where you finish. So let's go and put it over here. So we need to set it at minus, or 0.5. And then this one is going to be at, actually I think that's fine. We'll leave it like that. We just need to move it down a little bit. Okay, so on the Y, we'll go and set it to 0. 0, this needs to be 0, and then this needs to be 5. I mean, it doesn't really have to be in the middle, but for now we'll leave it like that so that you're going to go straight into that. Okay, so let's go and test it out and see what happens. So we should be able to collide into it, although I want to zoom into it so we can see what's happening. Also, I don't know why that's there. Oh, because that's the one we created, but we didn't get rid of it. So let's go and delete that one and then play the game. So now let's go and see. We should just get a message being printed out here in our console, and that should say rotating, which it does. Okay, so that's fine, but we still need to get rid of it once we've collided with it. And yeah, let's go see if we can get rid of it by destroy game object. We might need to, we'll have to print that first, because if we destroy the game object, we won't be able to print it, I don't believe. So let's go and see if this works. Test it out quick. So that animations still work. Okay, so that, I mean, it's working, but it's not really working how I want it to work. So let's go try that again. I'm just going to rotate the camera. Actually, let's do this. Let's add some rotation so that we can actually see it. And then once it gets to the side view, we can stop it. So this is exactly what we want this sphere to do. So once we collide with the cube into that sphere, we're going to go and check that box so that the game starts rotating. Okay, so let's go and into there. Now we need to, okay, so you see, oh, maybe that's because it's not in, I think it's in between these two spots. So I think it's the center of the sphere's line where the edge of the cube would be. But even if it's not, I think I'm going to go and change it into a trigger. So on trigger, enter. So we'll leave that like that. Collision. What does this need to be? Let's see. On trigger, enter, collider. Okay, let's just copy that, paste that there, and then we can get rid of that. So that needs to be copy that and paste that there. Okay, so that should be fine. Now we can go and get rid of that because we don't want that. We don't really need that because we know it works. Now what do we need to do? We need to go and take the box because it's now a collider. No, not a collider, it's a trigger. So where's our game object? Rotating script. Sphere is trigger. Okay. So that should now work. So let's go test it out. So where are we in our scene view? Let's go to our, scale this out quickly. And then, okay, let's position this where we want it to be. Okay, so let's test this out quickly. Okay, so that works. That works fine. Now we need to go and see if we can actually get it to start rotating the game. So to do that, we need to access this camera center point somewhere. So we can add a tag onto this, and then we'll use this tag to look for the object. And then it's not really the best way to do it, but we'll do it for now anyway. So let's go and say camera center, or what do we want to call it? Camera. Yeah, we'll just call it what we have as their name. So camera center point. Okay, so we'll save that, and then let's go back to it, wherever it is. Actually, it's here, camera center point, and we'll add that tag onto it. And now we can save that, and then in our script, we can go and, how are we going to do this? Okay, so once the level loads into the game, we need to go and find this object. So we need to go and get a reference to it. So this we can make a private. It's going to be game object. We'll call it exactly what we just called it, camera center point. That should be fine. And then what else do we need? We need a start method. Bring that back, start. And then in here we can go and look for it. So here we can go and say camera center point is equal to game object dot find object with tag, and then here we can go and say global dot camera, or let's just go, yeah, camera center point tag. We need to create that in our global class, otherwise we'll have an error. So let's go and copy that and go to our global class and then paste it. And then let's just copy this entire thing, get rid of that, and then paste that there and that there. So this doesn't have to have tag in it, but it does have to have capital letters, this exact same way as we saved it onto our camera center point. So otherwise it's not going to pick it up, it won't find it if it's not exactly the same. Okay, so now that we found that, we can go and access the rotator script off of it. So here we can go and say private rotator, and this is going to be, let's just call it rotator, like that. And then once we've found the camera center point game object, we can go and find the rotator script by saying rotator is going to be equal to camera center point dot get object, get component, and that's going to be a rotator, just like that. So that should give us access to our rotator script. So now after, or before we go and destroy the sphere, we want to go and say rotator dot is it private? Let's see, I think it might be private. Where's our rotator class? So is rotator, yeah, this is private. This needs to be public. So public boolean is rotating is equal to false. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to remove this out of here, cut that out, and I'm going to put it in a global class. Say and say global dot is rotating. Save that, go to our global class, because that should now, if we do this, we can get rid of our serialized field, make this public static, save that. And now in here, we don't really need any of this. Here we can just go and say, I believe we can just go and say global dot is, or needs to be capital, global dot is rotating. That's so annoying. Global, let's try that again. Dot is rotating is equal to true. So I think that should work. Let's give it a test. So if this does work, it saves us from having to find the camera center point whenever a level is loaded into the game. So hopefully this does work. So let's go and test it out. Okay, so it's working. So you can see as soon as we collide with that object, the level starts to rotate. Now the only thing that we don't really want is we don't want the second level or the next level to also be rotating. So when we go and load in a new level, we need to go and reset it. So let's go and see, where's our level loader? Our level manager should be in here. So next level, destroy the current level, increase the current level count, instantiate the next level. Okay, so move that. Okay, once we've actually let's just do it straight after we destroy the current level you're on. So here we can go and say global dot is rotating is equal to false. So that should be it. That should be the only line of code that we need to stop our game or our level from rotating. So let's test it out. Quick test. Okay, so we finished the level. Now once we press next level, okay, you can see that our level has loaded, but our rotation did not reset, so this needs to be at 0. And I believe, no, it just needs to be at 0. So we need to go and reset our camera center point back to 0. Is that where it starts at? Yeah, it starts at 0, 0, and 0. So we need to go do that quick. So we might need that reference. Actually, maybe not, because because our level manager is always in our scene as well as the camera center point, we could just drag and drop it in, which we are going to do. Okay, so let's do this. When we go and start the game, we go find the cube, and then we go and instantiate the first level. So once we've instantiated the first level, let's go and do this. Let's go and say, how do we want to do it? Do we just want to reset it, or do we want to copy it? Yeah, let's just do it like that. So let's go and say, serialize field. We'll try it like this and see if it works. Serialize field private. We don't really need private, but we'll put it in anyway. Transform. This is going to be a camera center point. Hold on, let's see. Where was it? We've got the A in there. I knew that looked weird. Camera center point. We'll save that and then go back here. Where did we use it? Anyway, we'll get the error in the Unity the inspector just now, so we'll go and fix it later. But now that we've got that there, we can go and drag that in. So let's go do that quick. Did we save it? Yeah, we did. So where is it? Level manager. We can go and drag this in here. So that gives us access to our camera center point. And because that is at 000, we can go and get a copy of that. So we can go and say private transform camera center point. What do we want to name it? Camera center point rotation position. Yeah, we'll do that. And then what we can do in our start method, once we've instantiated the level, because the level is not going to be rotating, we can go and say camera center point rotation position is going to be equal to camera center point dot rotation. Hold on. Maybe this needs to be a vector 3. Yeah. No. Quaternion, that's what it needs to be. Okay, so we can save that rotation value, those rotation values, as like a placeholder, because then we can go and reuse it when we load in the next level. So when we go and destroy the current level, we can go straight after that. We can go, well, after we set rotating is equal to false, we can go and put it back to normal, because if we do it before we set it to normal, it's going to rotate a little bit. Well, I believe it is. So here we can go and say camera center point dot rotation is going to be equal to camera center point rotation position. Okay, so that hopefully will work. Who knows? Let's give it a try and see what it does. So let's play it. So our game should always start with the level kind of facing towards you, if that makes sense. And then once you've picked up that object, it starts rotating. And then once you press next, it should go and reset it, which it does. That's great. Okay, that's working nicely. Let's just go and play this level to make sure our animations are still working. Okay, so that's good. We can go to the next level, and then we don't have another level after that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today's episode. We've got our first kind of, it's not a power up. I wouldn't say it's a power up, but extra feature that we can add to it. Let's just see. Okay, so we'll try and figure out another power up. I can see on my board up there, I've written down some kind of like a time trial that we will try and implement maybe in one of the next episodes. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. So thanks again for watching. If you made it this far, if you have done that, please like the video. It helps a lot. And also, if you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next episode. So thanks for watching and goodbye.